In October 2025, President William Ruto and Gideon Moi, the chairman of the Kenya African National Union, KANU, appeared to have ushered in what many describe as a landmark political reconciliation against the rolling hills of Kabarak, the salt of the Moi family political legacy. The two leaders stood together amid cameras and cheering supporters, pledging a renewed partnership that would reshape Kenya's political landscape ahead of the 2027 general election. 3 months on to that match, Taj Park, widely portrayed as the return of Kano to the corridors of power, has dissolved into uncertainty. Instead of cementing a durable alliance, critics now describe it as a political mirage in a deal that promised much but delivered little, leaving both parties to confront rising frustration and unfulfilled expectation. At the core of the bitterness lies a simple reality: the power pact that was never formalized in writing, unlike other political agreements in Kenya's history, such as a memorandum of understanding drafted between two parties. The Ruto Moi understanding was an informal handshake, a gentleman's agreement sealed on personal trust rather than legal or constitutional formality. Within KANU, several senior party officials now openly coincide what this was a strategic miscalculation. One senior KANU official, speaking on condition of animosity, told journalists that President Ruto made various verbal commitments during the meetings, including promises of a cabinet appointment, principal secretary position, and the settlement of pending financial obligation owed to companies linked to the Moi family. These commitments, according to the official, were part of the reason Gideon Moi abruptly withdrew from Baringo senatorial by-election following his meeting with Ruto at State House. After that moment, many people interpreted Moi's withdrawal as a clear indicator that a significant political bargain had been struck and a deal was made, one that effectively traded the Baringo seat for deeper inclusion in government. But in the months that followed, none of the expected appointments or policy changes materialized. No ministry were appointed from Kano. No principal secretary was named, and the financial commitment alleged by the party insiders remained unsettled. The results has been growing disquiet within Kano's rank. Once hopeful voices now speak more cynical about the park, accusing the president of betrayal. There was no written agreement, the senior party official said bluntly. The president made promises, but nothing has been delivered. This sense of disappointment is not limited to the senior leadership only. In the recent weeks, media coverage and the political commentary have reflected a broader narrative of a frustration among Kanu supporters, especially in Baringo County. Some party members feel they were politically manipulated by Ruto and the United Democratic Alliance (UDA), which has used the fool to consolidate its own power based in key regions rather than honor informal commitment. For President William Ruto, the logic behind engaging the Moi camp was clear. With his administration under pressure for economic disconnect, rising youth political protest, and mounting criticism of a governance failure, strengthening alliance with traditional political power brokers offered a way to show off support ahead of 2027. Aligning with Kano, a party with historical roots and loyal constituency particularly in parts of North Rift and Baringo County, would not on paper expanded Ruto's political reach. Ruto's own explanation on the park framed it as an attempt to foster national unity and broaden inclusive government. At the unveiling in Kabarak, he spoke about bridging dividends or divert and inviting more hands to build the country forward. He publicly articulated a vision that went beyond personal political gains, invoking national cohesion and shared development goals. But critics argue that this vision was more than political theater, with no structural or legislative change to embed Kano into government, and with Ruto's own party tightening its reorganization grip on strategic constituencies, the deal substance quietly began to fade behind optics. In other words, the handshake never translated into tangible political architecture. Some analysts suggest that the lack of written commitment was not inadvertent but strategic. In Kenya's politics, personal trust often replaces formal agreements. Yet the downside of such approach is evident when the trust is tested under pressure. By avoiding formal documentation, Ruto maintained flexibility while leaving Kano exposed to unfulfilled expectation. For Gideon Moi, the stakes were high, and a successful deal could have revived Kano's winning relevance, returned one of the Kenya's oldest political parties to the national prominence. It could have solidified his own political ambition and strengthened his bargaining power ahead of the 2027 election. Instead, the current limbo has exposed the internal division and spurred unease among the party bases. This unraveling has widened implications for Kenya's political culture. It highlighted the risk of inheriting reliance on informal agreement in high-stake political environment. It also underscores how personal diplomacy without the backing of transparency processes or written contracts may fail to produce sustainable political agreement. As 2027 looms, both the president and Kano now face a reckoning. Ruto's broader alliance strategies include deal making with other political actors such as Raila Odinga, will be scrutinized more sharply, particularly by voters keenly aware of what they see as a political bargaining at the expense of a governance outcome.